And I see everybody feel like, man, Future back. I hear people saying Future back. I ain't never went nowhere. I just wasn't making that music. And I feel like Monster was one of those projects that helped people realize, people who doubted me and people who didn't know, like, man, dude was really a problem.
The money on the horns of his head like a ram.
These days, a majority of Future's fan base came around after Monster, but for those who were around before Monster, y'all probably remember what it looked like when Future was on the verge of possibly falling off.
Now, I used to talk to DJs in Atlanta, and this one, like the Migos and Young Thug were like popping. I'd be like, well, what happened to Future? And they was like, Future went Hollywood.
Everything that led up to Monster and that moment of Future's career being on the ropes was due to Future sort of being politically correct, both musically and personally, how he maneuvered through the industry at this time.
Yeah, everything that I went through, it prepared me for what I'm going through now. But I had to take a step back. Like, I had to go back to mixtapes. After you drop albums, you plan on never dropping a mixtape again.
Shying away from certain records and putting out other kind of vibes for my situation, you know what I'm saying?
Future at the start of his career was playing offense of two audiences that he built. Now keep that in mind throughout most of this video because it'll make more sense later. He came in the game and solidified himself with hit records like Racks with YC, which helped him get to the mainstream.
We dropped Racks, but then everybody thought it was my song because I already had done built my buzz up so hard that every song I dropped Racks, every DJ instantly started playing it. So after they played Racks, then they found out it wasn't me, but that really was my breaking point.
At the same time, he built a core fan base with mixtapes like Dirty Sprite, True Story, Free Bricks, Streets Calling, Astronaut Status. Music from these tapes were tailored for the club and the car and turning up in general. But he still created hits from these projects. Some of these songs were Billboard hits or cult hits. A cult hit is basically when a song is well known, it's just not a radio song per se.
Breaking point was me when I was dropping the mixtapes. Like in Atlanta, I just had the streets going crazy with my mixtapes. Just out the mixtapes, niggas just was saying my shit word for word.
It's like a coat, I can play whatever. I go to my shows, I'm doing motherfucking 30, I'm doing motherfucking, I can pick 10 songs on any night, nigga. I'm doing 5 different songs every night, and they responding to them like every word, they saying every word.
Nigga, Team Pluto, you know what it is, man. We out here grinding, hard work pay off. From the club, making a movie last night, you know what I mean? Well, today we made a movie, it was epic.
Once Future signed to Epic Records and was preparing to drop his debut album, Pluto, his team and the label leaned more towards its mainstream potential. To say Future's style wasn't accepted back in 2011 would be an understatement, which make a lot of sense because after Jay-Z's 2009 death of Autotune became taboo again in hip-hop's mainstream. It was still around, but just wasn't as big as it was in previous years.
We don't even talk about none, they don't even say Autotune in my interviews no more, nothing.
That's right,
It ain't even about it. Usually they be saying that the Autotune crooner.
The reason I can sit down and write my verses and try to come up with some. Them dudes be taking months on their verses. Everything you done heard me, I did it in 30 minutes or less.
We don't know what the fuck you talking about in the song and everything. I had to print the lyrics out, though. Tony Montana, to East, and then let's put your gun on low. Tell me what you want and I'ma come and make you ring a dough. Oh, the third one that laced it up in the fucking fold.
Honestly, you could tell Future was trying to fit that mold of what a quote-unquote star rapper was at the time because a lot of moments stand out like a sore thumb.
Future, let's go!
Hey, Stevie, please believe me, you ain't gonna never see me. I got more ammo than Gilbert Arenas.
Like right here, I never want to see Future doing a radio freestyle, ever. This shows you how unaccepting rap was at the time for artists with different styles. Like, why would you try to get a melodic rapper to do what a traditional rapper would do? You know what I'm saying? In spring of 2012, Future released his debut album, Pluto.
I wasn't disappointed with Pluto, but I knew I could have did it a different way.
The album was led by his mixtape singles that became hits, like Tony Montana and Same Damn Time. But the biggest songs from Pluto ended up becoming the more poppin' radio-centered records like Turn on the Lights and Never End.
It's just showing I can make different music, but at the same time I can make street music. But I'm making different kind of songs here for Pluto. There's different songs that the streets are not even used to.
Which was a blessing and a curse for his career at that point because those 2 records were his biggest hits to date, but they were a complete 180 from the direction of his original sound.
A lot of records that was commercial that I'm trying to chase that lane, it just, I was doing it, taking advice, thinking this the way I need to get it, this the way I need to do. to have success when you probably just want to do it your own way.
That's something that Future and his team didn't really recognize at the time. Instead, they would attempt to double down on this more mainstream lane in attempts to make Future a star.
Try to make me a pop star and they made a monster.
In 2013, Future would announce his sophomore album that went on to become Honest. That gap between Pluto and Honest is where things got strange in the career of Future. At the top of 2013, he released FBG The Movie.
Yeah, free band at live mixtapes at One Future. Tweet me right now. I love all my ATL fans. Atlanta, I got you. Y'all make me who I am, and y'all make me want to go hard every tweet.
FBG The Movie is low-key one of my favorite Future mixtapes, but the problem with that is, it's just a mixtape. Unless you really follow Future at this point, you would know, for example, that Chosen One from FBG The Movie was one of his best songs. But to the masses, his more pop-sounding records were so big that his foundational sound was getting overshadowed.
Seems like you're in a dynamic space because you do like the street music, you know what I'm saying, the music for the hood that everybody can relate to, but then you got the melodic songs like the one with Rihanna.
It's a setup process. It's like where I'm going with it 2013 is more behind the scenes. It's just showing you I can do this over and over for other artists, you know what I'm saying? I only can't do this for myself.
Instead, songs like Love with Rihanna was what he was known for, or Good Cushion Alcohol with Drake and Wayne, or Body Party with Sier that he infamously wrote. That same year in 2013, Future and Sier went public with their relationship, and this would be the first time for the most part that Future was on the blogs for things outside of music. Future in this time was known for being a bad interview because he never wanted to do them. 2013, he started to do more interviews, and most of them interviews were a little bit about his music, but mostly about his new relationship with Sier.
From work, because I remember
Yeah, it was a distraction because all they want to hear about is your relationship. They don't even want to think about your music no more.
you were coming out of the studio with Sierra.
She sang, you know what I mean? So we was coming out the studio, we working on music. Like, man, as far as her situation and my situation, like, man, our personal life, I don't want to talk about it. If you judge me off my personal life, you're going to find a lot of shit that you don't like. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though my kid's mother, they might do the Instagrams or whatever, but for me, I don't do that, you know what I'm saying? That's just not what I do musically.
Sierra in 2013 was on a cold streak in her career at that point, with her last hit being Ride in 2010. Future and Mike Will created Body Party together, with Mike Will, of course, producing the beat and Future writing the song. That eventually led to them giving the song to Sierra. Sierra was a star, don't get me wrong. She was just irrelevant musically, and Future and Mike Will helped rejuvenate her music career. On the contrary of that, Sierra helped the rise of Future's star power.
What happened after that? Because we never heard any more music like that after that. Did she go in a different direction? Or?
Yeah, she went a different direction.
Yes.
She didn't want us to be a part of it at first. I was like, damn, we just came out for #1. You go straight to Dr. Luke and start working with him. You go right back to the pop lane after you get a little steam. We shouldn't do that. We should just finish what we started. I thought that was a little weird. And we're still in a relationship, so it was like, shit kind of threw me off.
His girl having a brand and him having a brand as well, he started to change his approach to how he recorded music. Future before this public relationship was known for some of his most outlandish bars, but that shifted once he got with Sierra because the blogs covered their relationship so much. If he said something too crazy on the song, now blogs would be talking like he's talking about Sierra.
He disrespecting you, why you let him talk about that? He's saying bitch on this record, he's saying hoe on this record. You got a girl and she don't even cuss, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's like restrictions on my music, you know what I'm saying? I'm Future Hendrix forever. I can't have no restriction on this music. I know they want the ratchet shit from me. I know they want me to say the most disrespectful shit it is because that's just where they come from me. I came in like that.
And all this is going on while he's en route to drop his second album, Honest. The rollout for Honest showed much promise in the beginning, with the first 2 singles, Karate Chop and Honest, performing well. Honest was originally set to drop November of that year, but industry politics delayed the project due to Beyonce's Drunken Love. Future and producer Detail originally created Drunken Love for Beyonce. Beyonce didn't take the song at first, so Future and Detail reworked the song and titled it Good Morning and was going to put it on Honest. But then Beyonce surprise dropped her self-titled album in September of that year. So of course Future found out in that moment that his song was no longer his.
I was recording with this producer by the name of Detail. We was working on the Drunken Love.
Drunken Love, y'all familiar with that?
And we started working on this other record at the same time, and then once Drunken Love came out, It pushed this song to the side.
If I would have put my album out in November, she wouldn't been able to put Drunken Love out. So it worked out for her, and it worked out for me, you know what I'm saying? Because I got a chance to continue to work. And I was just involved in the record. He came to me. I'm working in the studio. Please do this, please do this, please, please, please. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. I don't even want to get into the politics of that. I end up doing it. She put it out. It's a great record for her.
You got a good attitude.
Yeah, well, you can't think about that.
Okay.
Can't think about that. Because it's a block business from other artists that want to work with you. They're thinking you're going to do a story or say something. Man, I ain't got nothing bad to say about nobody.
So instead of releasing Honest in November, he instead released another single titled Real and True featuring Miley Cyrus and Mr. Hudson.
Hold up, Future. What the fuck you doing?
Ultimately, the single flopped and was scrapped from the Honest album. So to make up for that in 2014, Future released Move That Dope featuring Pharrell and Pusha T, a song closer to its true sound.
Move That Dope as a result of kind of the mixed reaction to the Miley Cyrus record.
Yeah, because we were like, man, the Miley Cyrus, it was too big. You know what I mean? The song, it was heartfelt, and at the same time, we know what we put into that record, and we know what that was, but we was like, man, we know this is a great record, but how do we get the listeners to listen to these records? You have to have those Move That Dope, because that's my core fans, and get it and build from there.
After much anticipation, Future finally released his most star-studded album to this point. Honest featured legends like Kanye West, Drake, Lil Wayne, Andre 3000, and the list goes on. Honest ended up only selling 53,000 in his first week, and the album was panned critically.
Yeah, and then the follow-up was 2014, Honest.
Honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite honest.
Yeah, that's the irony, right? You always said that.
Yeah, that was one of the albums that I feel like the album was great for us, the music, but at that time of my life, I wasn't talking about what was really going on.
Now, this is just my opinion, but I'm a firm believer that Honest wasn't necessarily a trash album. It was just too early in his career to go that left field. If it was his fifth album, I think people would have liked it. Being his second album, though, that's way too early. There's a reason why Kanye didn't go super left field into his fourth album. You gotta build the trust of your audience. And at that point, Future's audience was feeling like he was going pop. And Honest was a confirmation of that.
Yeah, it was like, you know what I did? I took it as this. I was like, you know what it is? It's just a sophomore slump. Now that we know what it is, it's a sophomore slump. And let's face our mirror, look in the mirror, face the facts, and let's get fucking back to work.
Right. Once Honest flopped, Future was living in LA and was uninspired musically and upset at his position in his career. Future was urged by friends to get back to Atlanta so he can get back to his original bag.
I'm not comfortable about where I'm at in my career. I'm not comfortable about compromising, about just being the person that I am. All my homies in Atlanta, everybody my whole family in Atlanta, my kids in Atlanta, and I feel like I'm losing by myself. I'm feeling like you know what I'm saying, and I'm not responsible for this situation that I put myself in. I took so much advice, I put myself in so many situations, and then I was like, man, I can't be out here. I gotta just go back home. I gotta record. I gotta get back comfortable.
At this time, the landscape of hip hop was changing, and it was changing fast, especially in Atlanta. I remember when Rich Homie Quan came up and people were ready to throw Future to the side because their sounds were similar, but Quan was on fire. R.I.P. Rich Homie Quan, man. Young Thug was on fire at this time as well, and when they linked up to make Rich Gang, they were easily the hottest artists in Atlanta at this time. It's like Future was losing his spot.
Doing the style, so people was thinking like, damn, Future just left you just left a lane open. I basically just left a lane open. There wasn't no one just like no one was taking my style or running off. It was music that I was making that I wasn't making turn up music no more.
All this is going on, and at the same time, Future was now engaged to Sier, and she was pregnant as well, doing magazine covers to announce the pregnancy, and even wanted to put their wedding on E! Network. At some point, all this led to the public breakup between Sier and Future. People were really thinking he was done at this point because the music flopped, and now he was only in the news in regards to his breakup. Future went dark though. Instead of responding through interviews and on social media, he was back in Atlanta and locked in on making music similar to how he did originally coming into the game, releasing Monster October 28th, 2014.
I said trends, you know what I'm saying? It's a lifestyle for me. If I had a backpack on my back, it had money in it, or it had something illegal in it. I was a hustler from the beginning. I was born a hustler.
I just want to
Monster. I knew Monster was out of here.
Yeah, and was gonna get him back to where he needed to be.
I knew that.
Yeah.
And
why? What were some of the songs that you knew that people sessions that you knew like this is okay?
you know, it wasn't the songs. It was, I knew this is the attitude they want. That's why I was like, let's put Monster out first. I'm a monster on these hoes. I'm a monster. Yeah. Because they think you're so caught up in love and all this soft shit. Nigga, you come from the street,
trophy.
Nigga. Yeah, nigga.
A trophy.
Nigga, you from the street, nigga. So Monster on these hoes, it wasn't even like Monster's gonna be a smash. It was like Monster's gonna
set the tone.
Set the tone.
Yeah.
And now let's make a body of work around that, and they're gonna love it. I know.
Still all love, you know. So think what you want to think, read what you want to read. It ain't for you to understand no more. It's not for you to understand. This music, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get your issue. Make sure you get your issue with this music shit.
In just 6 months, Future was already looking like a brand new artist. Monster was a show and prove moment. Many artists don't recover from a sophomore slump. I could make a video on that topic just alone. With that being said, Future broke the code with Monster. It wasn't about adapting to the industry, it was about making the industry adapt to his wave. All in all, Monster was the first project in a trilogy of mixtapes that brought Future to superstar status. I'm curious in the comments, what's your favorite project from that trilogy? I'm personally a beast mode guy, just how smooth that project was with Beethoven. But all in all, even if Monster isn't your favorite Future project, it is indeed the project that saved his career.
Do you have a favorite mixtape out of the three?
Monster, because Monster jumped everything out. It jumped everything out.
With that being said, if you like this video, thank you so much. All I ask is that you like and subscribe. And if you don't like this video, that's fine too. Just make sure to dislike, but subscribe. It's Round Butter.
It's over 25 girls in my section.